good.
We are very excited about our next guest. Rebecca Wisocky plays the Gilded Age socialite Hetty on the hit CBS comedy Ghosts, one of my all-time favorites. On this week's new episode, a familiar face returns to the mansion, and we learn the surprising story about how Hetty died. We also see a flashback of Hetty speaking with an attorney shortly after her husband disappeared.
In any case, Elias has left behind no small amount of legal trouble.
Legal trouble? Like what?
Well, there's the matter of children working in your factories.
What about it? We're the largest employer of children in 6 counties. We're doing our part, George.
That's the problem. People don't want children working anymore. In fact, they want them in school now.
During their most productive years, when their tiny fingers are still small enough to fit into the crevices of the machinery?
I'm on your side, but new laws have been passed, and Elias has been ignoring those laws. In his absence, his legal...
Rebecca Wisocky joins us now. Rebecca, it's so great to have you here.
Oh, thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
A little hint of the Hetty voice came in there.
Oh, I know.
you.
She's in me.
Yeah, does she come out at different times? I wonder about that.
She does, yes.
Well, we were watching as a family this weekend. All 4 of us piled into one queen-size bed. So we love the show.
Cozy.
We are late in season 2, so don't give anything away here on season 3. But for the people who are there, this episode coming up, scary and shocking, you say, to play the role. Why?
Well, wow. There are 2 ghosts that we don't know how they died yet. Hetty and also Sasapis, played by Ramon Zaragoza, who we love. And this week you find out how Hetty died. And when I read it, it really took my breath away. I think it's going to be a surprise and will provoke lots of conversation, and a whole lot happens. You find out what exactly was going down in Woodsaw Mansion in 1895.
It was a big surprise, and it made me realize I didn't know how she died.
Yeah.
But then when you find it out because of her character, that's not the way I would have assumed that her death would go.
I do not think anyone may have predicted it. I don't know, Vlad, you were saying...
I was saying that, yeah, I was saying to Rebecca that I'm on these Reddit groups where people debate, like, what is happening on the show. And, of course, Sass and Hetty are the 2 that we don't know how they died. And some of the theories range from because you took cocaine back in the day or laudanum, and people are surmising that maybe that has something to do with it. I can tell you now, I'm not going to say anything, but it's not that. It is, though, a show that dives into these kinds of topics, like death, obviously, but also classism and racism.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, but it has these darker themes.
Yeah.
It is
a lot of the classism coming from Hetty.
Yes, of course.
What?
So true.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, she's allowed to be that. I mean, we like you said, it's a screwball comedy. It's so enjoyable. There's so many wonderful lines and so many things to laugh at. But we managed to be a little provocative at the digs we get in at American history, and there's some to make, as you mentioned. And the thing that we hear most often is that it provokes conversations in families that might not otherwise have happened.
Yes.
About mortality and regret and racism and money and all of these things. And I think this week's episode will, I hope dearly that it engenders a lot more of those conversations.
It will definitely do that.
Yeah.
Because when I was watching, I rewound it back to make sure what I was seeing was what I was seeing.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But you've heard people say...
You know, get with it, Tony.
I know. I was going to say, we laugh a lot when we watch this.
Well, you're a very busy family.
We've not had deep conversations, but we laugh a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
And yet it still manages to be funny, too.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. But I've heard people come to you and say that it's actually helped them with their own grieving process.
Yeah.
And helped them discuss things that were difficult to discuss when it comes to death. We just had a death doula here a minute ago.
I saw.
Which I'd never thought about before, but I'm actually thinking about that in a very different way. What does it mean to you that so many people say, you know, you've helped me deal with grief? Because it's something we're all going to experience and nobody wants to talk about it.
I think talking about it is exactly where it's at, you know? It's the great unifier,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
I mean, yeah, talking about it. And we certainly talk about it this week.
One of the things I love about the show, and it comes across, is the chemistry that you all have. You're on this group text together, you and the cast.
Yes.
We are as well, and I always think that shows on television, too. Talk to me about the bond that you share with your castmates. You guys take trips together or whatever?
do.
Yeah.
We
You
do.
guys vacation together?
We do.
Yeah. You do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you all
Gail's like,
go?
we haven't gone that far. I was going to say, I was like, when are we coming to Hawaii, Gail?
Where do you all go?
I got a timeshare in Fort Myers. You don't want to come?
Well, you've been going on some pretty
Yes.
exciting vacations I've seen recently.
Yeah,
so,
yes.
we go all over the place together. We can't stay away. You can't make up that kind of chemistry.
No.
And we're so
No.
thankful for it because we shoot the show up in Montreal. nous travaillons.
Ah oui, vous parlez français.
Tu viens
Ah, c'est
de
super. Ah,
Haïti, oui.
c'est déjà bien.
Oh.
Super bien.
Yeah. C'est l'étendue de mon français.
Bah, c'est
You know, other people are here.
Ah, d'accord.
Don't speak French.
Excusez-moi.
Show in Montreal.
Yes.
And we love our crew so much, and most of them are francophones, and so we've all decided to start taking French lessons. Some of us are better than others. Rose
You're pretty
McIver
good.
speaks
Yeah,
very well.
Your accent sounded very
Oh,
good.
thank you. The
But you
accent's
still
better
love
than
this character.
The show is hilarious. If you're on season 3, you're going to enjoy this week. If you're just beginning, you got a lot of laughs ahead of you. So tune in. You can watch this week's new episode of Ghosts on CBS at 8:30, 7:30 Central on CBS and also Paramount Plus.